what was it about that you wanted to do comedy? What was it that attracted you?
I'd always been, I'd always been kind of like, I don't know the right word exactly, like weird or feeling like displaced. And, someone said once, they were like, I don't think comedians have to have had tough things in their childhood. That person that said that doesn't do stand up anymore, as a side note. Because I remember thinking, I don't know if that's accurate, because you have to have something worse than the despair and all the things you feel. And it's like, you're putting yourself in that situation, but worse than those feelings of the insanity of trying to make it an entertainment. You have to been through something worse, I think, than that to draw from, to know you can get through trying to make it. So I always, I had kind of like a choppy childhood. I felt displaced. I was always, my parents, was very lucky in a lot of ways, but it was always going back and forth between my parents and moving around a little bit. And then it was like, and when I saw the girl doing stand-up, she was having a tough time. It was like a dingy basement. And I had been interested in entertainment as like a window to a bigger world. So I was always interested in entertainment, being from really rural Maine, but just something clicked. And I was a class clown too. I was definitely a class clown in elementary school. Runs the gamut of some comedians are, some comedians aren't, all of which makes total sense. It makes sense that someone would be a super introvert, makes sense that someone would be a very big extrovert. So I was, it just kind of clicked when I saw her doing that. But when I really got interested in it was when I actually took a comedy class, and then I started going to more shows and open mics and being like, oh, there's like a process and a language. Like the first time I realized that comedians were saying the same thing over and over again made me so much more interested in it. Cause I was like, oh, there's some kind of like, there's something going on. And then I wanted to study that. And that's when I became like much more, I would say, impulsively addicted to stand-up.
Yeah, I was doing open mics, and then I took a class like maybe 6 months into it or so, and then I was like applying it. But I didn't tell anyone in the class that I was actually doing
Oh, you
mics every
didn't?
night. No, I
So
kept it to myself,
was
and I
that so at
was
the graduation show, you'd be like, boom?
it was so that like because no one else seemed like no one else was into it to actually do comedy.
Right.
And that's what I was into. I was a student of comedy. I just wanted to soak everything in. What was your class experience like?
The class experience was actually great. It was taught by an improv instructor who's also a stand-up in Boston, Dana J. Bine. And when I was there, I met a couple people, and we started going to open mics together. And we were like, kind of like, it was a little like support system. Then we had that graduation class. So that was like a nice way to start in Boston. But I also didn't realize how big the comedy community in Boston was. And then that started being like, okay, this is a thing. Like there's like layers upon there's the Boston headliners, and then there's the people that come in from out of town. And after being in Boston a little bit, you'd see like the best of Boston, which is great. But I was kind of like, okay, if this is what I want to try for something a little different than that.